Good morning, Flagler County. This is Danielle Anderson, your host of Lifeline, the radio show connecting you to positivity in our community. And this morning we have Dr. Mohammed Majoub in the studio. Good morning.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're glad you could take time out of your schedule to be here.
All a pleasure. Yeah.
So as a new doctor here in Palm Coast, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm originally from Sudan, south of Egypt. I went to medical school there. My dad is an agricultural engineer. My mom is a teacher. And then I moved to the U.S. after I finished my medical school in 2018, 2015. Came here, did my licensing exams, and then I did my internal medicine residency in Youngstown, Ohio, south of Cleveland. And then I did my nephrology fellowship in north of Austin, Texas, Temple. And then I decided to go for Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota for 2 additional years of training in kidney and pancreas transplant and then glomerular disease.
So you just checked off every amazing school or internship you could possibly have as a doctor. How does the education system differ in the United States from your home country?
Back home is more like a British system. So after you finish medical school, you get the MBBS, which is the equivalent of MD degree here in the U.S. And after that, you have 2 years of hospital practice where you become something closer to a PCB. Back home, we call it a general practitioner. So you know how to do uncomplicated deliveries, uncomplicated appendicitis or appendectomies. And after that, you decide to where to go for training. In the U.S., after you finish medical school, you go right away to training. So you decide if you're going to go into surgery, medicine, or other specialty, and then you can go for advanced subspecialties training.
So what made you decide you wanted to go into this field?
I love the physiology of the kidney disease.
Really?
Yes. I didn't know this when I went to internal medicine residency in Ohio. One of my mentor, his name is Dr. Leonidas Vassilaris. He is from Greece. He is very smart, so he sold me into nephrology. He was just very amazingly explaining all the abnormality with the patient, just going back to the physiology that we studied back in medical school. So after following him and mentor by him for the 2 weeks, I decided this is what I want to do for my life.
That's really cool. So were there any specific challenges that he was talking about that you said, I'd like to solve that during my career?
He said that he noticed chronic kidney disease becoming more frequent, and he thinks that the future hopefully will have more medication and patient awareness that they will be able to come forward earlier before they have advanced kidney disease. And happily, I'm witnessing this, a lot of medication coming down the pipelines.
That's awesome. Do you find, do you do any practice outside of the United States?
No.
No.
Only here.
Are you able to kind of talk about the differences in the medical systems between the globally?
So I can refer to medical system back home in Sudan. Usually there is difficulty with affording medication, difficulty with being out of pocket for surgical procedure, imaging, and testing. So that was a hard time for patients and people live over there. Sometimes they sell part of their household just to afford going for surgeries. And it was very devastating. But eventually, slowly, they start to incorporate government insurance, and now people will become more insured than before.
And it's got to make a difference in healthcare and overall patient outcome.
Yes. Right now, back in the days, the mortality of delivery and early childhood disease was high. But now, with more access to healthcare, more access to medication, and more access to laboratory testing and imaging, that it's decreased, but it's still one of the highest one in the world compared to other countries.
It's incredible as we still watch it advance that we still have these challenges.
Yes.
So what made you decide that you wanted to come to Palm Coast?
So I have friends and family stretched all the way the east coast of Florida, going from Jacksonville to Orlando and north of Miami. And you reach a point in your life you want to be next to family so you can spend time with them, right? I like to swim, and I like to kind of hike with my friends. So usually we decide to go for national parks when I was in Minnesota and when I was in Ohio. So now I started to kind of like jog next to the beach, next to A1A. Very nice.
Yes.
In the morning. And then I have a swimming pool in my community, so I do laps in the morning when I have a chance.
I know somebody else who likes to jog. Has she got you on the jogging thing yet?
Not yet. She didn't share the secrets yet.
Oh, she's amazing. So, like, if you don't, so Michelle's hiding in the background, but she's jogging all the roads in her community. Like, how many miles is that?
About 200.
200 miles. So, how did Advent Health get lucky enough to get you?
I will say I was lucky enough for Advent to take me. Because I was really intrigued by their way of approaching healthcare by incorporating the patient background of spiritual background. It's very important to kind of like pay respect and attention to this part of the patient background. Sometimes that will make a huge difference in their care while in the hospital, in their goal of care while they leave the hospital. Incorporating the family, have access to pastoral care during the hospital, also very important. The other thing is that Advent Health want to expand the healthcare access in this community. And I think that this is one of the things I have very good goals for it since I was back home and I saw the devastating effect of not having access to health. So this is one of the things that I would like to spread around the community here in Flagler County and Palm Coast.
And I know one of my friends, her mom was just in the hospital, and she was telling me how great the system was that she was able to go in there, and with this digital app that they have, she could see all the patient records. She got all the latest updates. How valuable do you think that is in healthcare and keeping the families informed?
Very important. Right now with healthcare portal, patient can be taking charge of their healthcare. They can see where is going to be their next appointment, and they see if there is any option. They can either reschedule it, ask a question, send a question for the medical team or to the doctor. I'm experiencing this side effect with the medication, what I would like to do. Or if the patient want to update their provider about how their blood pressure been doing after starting a new medication, it's a very easy access. You don't have to wait in the phone. So, and it's kind of documented, so you can see and you go back to it in case that you have a problem with certain medication. You can go back into the record and notice that actually I tried that and it didn't work. So it's a very nice, and the family also can contribute. Sometimes they can have a permission to access their family members when you have a kid or when you have a parent and they need to help.
That's her case, and she says it's been really phenomenal, like being able to help manage her mom's health care through that system.
Nice.
So we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about why you might come see Dr. Majou. We'll be right back.
Don't even think about climbing that ladder.
We got a guy that'll do it for you.
If you're going to do it right with Benjamin Moore.
We've got the professional painters and the best paint.
Benjamin Moore, corner of Old Kings and Utility Drive,
Palm Coast.
Thank you so much for recommending us to your family and friends. When you need a 30, 60, or 90-minute massage, it's real easy to book your appointment online. MassageByNatalie.org. MassageByNatalie.org.
Be local, buy local from local companies and members of the Flagler Home Builders Association.
Hi, folks. This is Bill Gallagher with SolarFit. Just a note to the wise, beware of unlicensed contractors knocking on your door. SolarFit has been installing solar systems in our community since 1975. We won't knock on your door, so give us a call at 445-7606, 445-7606.
The Flagler Home Builders Association, building a better community for you.
All right, so we're talking about the kidneys and all the reasons you might have to come see Dr. Majou here at Advent Health. Are you at Parkway or are you at the main campus?
So I covered both hospitals.
Oh, wow.
But my office for outpatient care is next to Parkway.
That's awesome. You got the new place.
Yes.
It's so beautiful. Okay, so what are some of the reasons people might come see you?
So most of the time I see patients with chronic kidney disease. Right now, the most common reason for people to end up with kidney disease is diabetes, high blood sugar, and high blood pressure, hypertension.
And okay, so how would they get started? Are there signs that you would know that you have chronic kidney disease?
Unfortunately, most of those diseases, they have signs, but usually when you have advanced disease. For example, usually I tell my patient hypertension can damage you from inside out. So unless you check your blood pressure, unless you go to your doctor, see what is your risk of having high blood pressure, it's going to be hard to notice any difference unless you have actually complication. So when you start to notice that you have difficulty with your vision, you have leg swelling, or you have difficulty with weight gain, that means that you have advanced kidney disease related to either diabetes or hypertension. So usually I recommend for a patient to evaluate whether the risk of having high blood pressure or high blood sugar. Go and see your doctor. Make sure that you ask your doctor or your primary care doctor, what is my risk of developing this? Do I have like a family history of kidney disease? Do I have a family history of diabetes? Or do I have a family history of high blood pressure? And if you have those diseases, what is my option to take care of them? And what is my option without starting a medication? There is a lot of things that we can do before you start medication by monitoring your diet, exercising, monitoring your weight. So when you reach the medication, you already tried the more friendly approach.
More holistic things you could be doing.
You're right.
So, once you get to that, is it reversible?
So usually I tell my patient if it's a progressive kidney disease, it's going to take a while until we will see if there is any reversibility or not. Usually in the acute setting, you will hope there will be a little bit of reversibility, but it's going to be a matter of time and your body telling us what is going to be your baseline kidney disease. For example, if you used to be having a lot of kidney stones back in the days, or you take a lot of NSAIDs, over-the-counter pain meds for days in a row without stopping, and then suddenly you had like a pneumonia or infection, and then you went to the hospital and your kidney function were not doing well. We can take care of the pneumonia, but when we take care of that, your kidney function will not go back to normal. It's going to go back to what you already end up with those injuries back in the days and the insults.
So what happens after you have chronic kidney disease?
So usually chronic kidney disease comes in 5 stages. Chronic kidney disease with a GFR or kidney estimated function less than 60%, we call it chronic kidney disease. And usually you don't end up with dialysis unless you are like less than stage 5 for end-stage kidney disease. So the number is not as important as how the patient feels. So usually most of the time, if you have a chronic kidney disease, we would like to make sure that how is your blood pressure being controlled? How is your sugar being controlled if you have high blood pressure or high blood sugar? And then if there is any risk factor for you to have advanced kidney disease, for example, you have chronic heart disease, or you have a large weight, or you have medication that affects your kidney. You take a lot of pain medication, for example, or you have recurrent kidney stones, or you have recurrent urine infection, or you are not up to date with kind of like making sure that you drink enough amount of water. All of that will factor in combining how your kidney will progress in the next 2 to 3 years. Most of the time, there is great medication we can use right now to control your sugar, control your blood pressure, and with the modification of your lifestyle, we can hold and delay the progression of kidney disease. So you get more function out of your kidney before you reach a stage where you have to consider dialysis.
So when would you have to go for a kidney transplant? When do those come into play?
So usually you refer patient for kidney transplant evaluation when they are either on dialysis or they have a kidney function with a GFR less than 20. So usually 20 or less, that's kind of like an indication to send patient for evaluation. The earlier you send them, the earlier they will have a good outcome to see if they are going to be waiting for a long time or not, depending on your blood group. And I usually tell my patient, you have to advocate for yourself to see if you can get a living donor. Unfortunately, right now, the waiting time for deceased donor kidney transplant, depending on your location, somewhere between 4 to 7 years.
Wow.
So definitely having the word in the community that living donation, someone who can donate in your behalf, even if they are not your blood group, they can still donate for you. Because right now we have something called the birth exchange. Someone wants to donate for you, but they are not the good match for you. But someone else in a different state, he has a good match for you, but his kidney going to go to you, and your friend kidney going to go to him. So everyone end up with a good kidney, good match kidney, without having to wait on the line.
So how talk about the outcomes of getting a kidney. Do they last a long time?
Right now, with the advance in immunosuppression and the matching of the kidney as a technique of kidney transplant surgery itself, right now the outcome has been improved compared to back in the days when we didn't have a lot of immunosuppression, or we have immunosuppression but with a lot of side effect. Right now, patients are experiencing more good outcomes compared to patients on dialysis. Definitely, when you compare it to patient being on dialysis, the outcome for mortality and having a lifestyle is a lot much better.
So we want to encourage people to be kidney donors or consider being a living donor.
Definitely.
That is awesome. I mean, my mind's just like blown listening to that. It's really cool. Is there an age that is the best to get a kidney transplant?
So usually we recommend to have the kidney transplant procedure when you are at that level where the lifestyle or the mortality will be better for you to have a kidney transplant. For example, you send a patient and they said that they are now a candidate for kidney transplant and they have a living donor, but they didn't reach the level where they actually need a kidney transplant. So we usually want them kind of like to be in contact with their transplant center to see what is the appropriate time. Sometimes you have a kidney function that will last you a year, but sometimes you will be having an infection during that year. You have a pneumonia, you have any infection, people can have other things, right? And that will progress your kidney disease. So instead of having dialysis starting in a year, you will have dialysis started in a few months. So that's why usually timing of kidney transplant procedure time is very important with your transplant center.
Yeah, because sometimes they make you wait a while until you get to, a certain level of degradation, I guess it is.
Yes.
So we spend a lot of time talking about the liver and the pancreas and diabetes and things like that. Why do you think we aren't incorporating the effects that those are having on the kidneys in the messaging?
Right now with diabetes and high blood pressure, we are incorporating heart disease and liver disease more. Now with the advance of medication to halt the progression of liver disease, heart disease, and also obesity, we are incorporating a holistic approach. So when I see a patient that they can benefit from a referral to a GI doctor to understand the risk of having liver disease in the future, I always send them. And if I have a patient who are coming to see me because of their heart disease, but I know eventually the heart disease will affect the kidney, because if you don't have a good heart function, the kidney will not be able to function properly.
Right.
So usually we work as a team to make sure that the patient is on the most beneficial medication therapy, most beneficial outcomes, so they can have like a monitoring regularly in case that anything that's not working well or they have side effect of those medication. We will be in like a high alert and try to adjust it further on before they experience the complication.
It's so interesting, though. We put such a premium on all the commercials are like, hey, don't forget, insulin resistance, things like that. And we just never talk about the kidneys. So my mom was prone to kidney stones. What causes that?
Kidney stones usually most of the time is related to not either having enough amount of fluid intake, or you have genetic factor that make you more prone to absorb certain crystals in your diet and deposit them in the urine. Most of the time when you patients start to drink more and know their risk, usually after every kidney stone episodes, we would like to analyze the stone. So we send it to a lab to see exactly what kind of crystal you have in the kidney stone. And with that, you understand your risk. And then they change your diet. For example, the most common kidney stone is secondary to oxalate. So when you see that patient are eating a lot of oxalate-rich food, for example, a lot of nuts, or they're not incorporating calcium in their food, or they are doing that with less amount of hydration, especially when you live here in Florida, you sweat most of the time.
Right.
So the regular recommendation of fluid intake will be higher here because you're sweating compared to someone in a less kind of like hot weather. So with that, you will know your risk. Not all the time you have the same risk like someone else have kidney stone. Sometimes the risk go up and down during your lifetime. For example, you started a medication that will make you pee more, that can affect your kidney stone progression in the future. If you have a surgery, you will change the way that your bowel absorbs certain crystals. So always it's better to have like someone who understands their kidney stone by doing the kidney stone analysis and speak with a urologist or a nephrologist to see exactly what they can do in the future to prevent the progression of their kidney stone.
Are those kinds of things genetic?
Some of the time, kidney stones is genetic because of a certain receptors in your kidney and your bowel that absorb and secrete crystal in a different way. But usually that detected really early on when you are like in your early childhood, you will develop kidney stone. So that's something usually the nephrologist, when you are taking care of kids, pediatrician nephrologists, they will notice that. And that's a different approach.
Wow. So is sponge kidney a thing?
Yes.
What is that?
So sponge kidney is, back in the days, they used to do a biopsy and they noticed that there is certain architecture of the kidney tissue. So they decided to call it sponge kidney disease. And they noticed that patient with this kind of manifestation in their biopsy, they have like a slowly progressive chronic kidney disease compared to someone who doesn't have that. So right now we just try to make sure that if those patients have other risk factor, because it's definitely genetic, if there is any other risk factor for kidney disease, we'll make sure that they address it. For example, if you have high blood pressure, control your blood pressure. If you have high blood sugar, control your blood sugar, so you don't end up with accelerated kidney disease.
Wow. So what are some of the top things that you would advise listeners to have healthy kidneys throughout their lifetime?
First thing, make sure that whatever you are taking, to check if it's going to affect your kidney or not, and if the dose is appropriate for your kidney. The other thing is that make sure that you go for annual checkups. And if you have anything that you don't understand about your labs or analysis, make sure that you ask the question. If you have diabetes or high blood pressure or high blood sugar, make sure that you are on the appropriate medication. And what is your control levels? Are you getting more controlled, less controlled, what you can do now? And the other thing is that if you have kidney disease, make sure that you have someone who is specialized in kidney disease to monitor your kidney function, to make sure that you are on appropriate medication regimen, making sure that you don't have any side effects. And if your kidney disease is slowly progressive, you have preparation, because we don't want to kind of like suddenly start patient on dialysis. We want to make sure that we have discussion in between, because one of my goal in life is that when I discuss with patient management of chronic kidney disease, you have to incorporate the patient. You have to make sure that you give them the tools, the education, so they can be one of the partner helping you, helping them. Because when the patient know the information, they will sometimes surprise you by telling you, okay, doctor, this is one of the things that I don't want to do in my life going forward, or this is one thing I would love to do. So knowing their goals in life will make you change or shift your perspective of going more forward.
And that's nice that you take their desires and goals into account when you're creating their wellness plan.
You're right.
So how do people get in touch with you if they'd like to come and visit with you?
They can either go to Advent Health's website and look for nephrologists in their community, and usually they can find available nephrologists, and they can come and see me. I will be more than happy to see them.
I love it. That's amazing. Thank you for coming in. We're excited to welcome you to the community, and look forward to having you back if you're okay with that.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Awesome. We want to thank WNZF News Radio, Flagler News Weekly, the Vigilante Philanthropists, Massage by Natalie and Company, and also the Benjamin Moore Paint Store here in Palm Coast for sponsoring our show. And we'll see you next week. And don't forget to give Dr. Mohammed Majoub a call if you need help. He's here for you 24/7, right?
24/7.
Awesome. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.